Geeta, also to you, are we expecting some kind of briefing to emerge in SCO today itself about what really happened in that bilateral?
Well, yes, absolutely. There, in all probability, will be a briefing by the Foreign Secretary, which he does after important and crucial bilaterals. Gaurav will be covering that for us, Maria. But like you said, what are the expectations over here? Look, before the meeting and before Prime Minister Modi headed to the SCO, there were already indications with the kind of moves that India made. Direct flights to China resumed. Pilgrimages opened up. Some of the areas which were banned and exports and imports were banned have opened up. China started sending fertilizers yet again. So both sides have showed some indications of forward movement, but will it translate into something where it could be substantive when it comes to relations, as also ensuring that there is clarity in forward movement in the boundary question? Now, it's not about the boundary question, very specifically on post-Galwan. Is there going to be complete disengagement or not? Because boundary question is something that maybe will take a long time to resolve. But the immediate for us is, will there be disengagement, complete disengagement? We're not talking about status quo ante anymore, but we do talk about disengagement and complete disengagement. There has to be some forward movement on that front.
Okay, so expect some kind of forward movement on disengagement is the sense that Geeta is giving to us. But Gaurav, come in now. We can expect some kind of briefing to come in from the Foreign Secretary today.
There will be one, as is the norm after the end of every bilateral. At the end of the day, there is a briefing. So yes, later tonight, Beijing time, 9 p.m., Tianjin time, there will be a briefing by the government on what transpired between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping. Tomorrow, there'd be one on what transpired in the SCO summit and also in the meeting that takes place with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. However, there is a very tough situation globally right now. Trump tariffs is a tough situation. India is moving on with a free trade agreement with the United Kingdom, seeking one with the European Union, not reducing, increasing ties with Russia. However, there is no Russia, India, China trilateral at a summit level because not enough groundwork has happened for that. With China, you're trying to make the best of a bad situation. You're trying to see what best can India eke out of a very difficult situation at a time when the world is going through a churn. So yes, there are no conclusions that are happening today, but there is some forward movement happening so that the Indian economy, what's the ultimate aim? When you speak to government sources, they say that our ultimate aim is to ensure initially we become the third largest economy and then are amongst the top economies of the world with sustained development. And for sustained development, good relations with America and good relations with China, they're equally important, and that is something that the government is trying to achieve at this stage.
And Gaurav, in terms of all those who are present in this meeting and who's not, how would you read that, the absence of External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar?
So right now, India remains engaged at multiple levels with multiple interlocutors across the world. There is a trade agreement with the United States of America that you're trying to work out on. There is background conversation that's happening. There's a lot of acrimony. At the same time, negotiations haven't come to a standstill. Negotiations are happening. The Commerce Ministry remains very extensively engaged there. There is no explanation from the government just as yet on the External Affairs Minister's absence right now. But basically, the information is India is moving on multiple levels and multiple legs of engagements. The engagement with Japan, for example, was extremely crucial. There's some work that remains in pipeline that is being taken forward, and that is one partnership that will help spur the growth engine in India over the next several months and years. And that is where it's required most. Wherever investment can come in from, that cheap Russian oil, it's required to keep prices down in India to ensure that India is able to 1.4 billion Indians